half your team's new, but you got two seniors. Just, I mean, is it starting all over? I mean, what's...
No, I don't know if I'd say it's starting all over because we've got enough guys back where they've shown really terrific leadership, and I think they've helped these guys from the time that they walked on campus in June, really, and helped them. And we've had some of them, but all this is new to them. But I do think they've been able to move quicker than you'd expect because of the leadership we've got from the guys coming back.
And is that a reflection? Is that where the culture that you've instilled in 4 years, is that where you see it really pay off when you have 6 new guys?
Yeah, that's what you want. You want to see your older guys, coach. You want to see them talk and have a voice, and you'd like to think after they've been with you a while, they know exactly what we're all looking for, and so the better that those guys are involved in that way, the better we're going to be.
What have you seen from the younger guys to this point, Coach?
Well, one, I've seen a group of guys that they want to be taught basketball. They're open-minded in the fact that they have bought into what the older guys have told them about the work ethic that it takes, what's expected within our program, and it's been a fun group of guys to be around because they've embraced the fact that they know that they've walked into a situation where there's going to be opportunity for some of them to play, certainly, but also they've been open-minded to the older guys, which is always a great sign.
Plavsic, any ruling, any timetable on when a ruling?
No, I think within the next couple of weeks. I don't know if we can put a date on it, but I think the next couple of weeks we'll probably hear something.
How have you seen Bowden and Lamonte Turner kind of step up over the summer, be leaders, especially from the kids?
Well, they have done that. We talked about that once the season was over with. That every year roles change, and when you start out, the one thing I don't think you want to do. Well, first of all, from a leadership standpoint, those guys have been terrific, and Lamonte's always in his own subtle way has been a guy that they've been willing to follow because of his competitiveness, and a lot of respect for Jordan Bowden, but he has become more vocal with it, and he's one way he leads is he's going to come up and bring it every day. I mean, both of those guys are really good at that. They play really hard, they practice really hard, they prepare themselves the way you'd want it, so they do lead by example, but they do need to be, and they are more vocal than they have been. But the fact is, we need the young guys to understand it. You can't say you're young. We need the older guys to know that they've got to get better. We've tried not to put anybody in a box. I mean, we still experiment with some things to see what guys might show us they can do more than we even think right now. And we kind of used the summer, and because of the summer, we're still doing some of that right now.
How has Josiah meshed with those guys?
Josiah's terrific. I mean, he's worked as hard as any player we've had as a freshman coming in as a freshman. He came in with one thought: he wanted to get better. He wants to win. I mean, he's one of those guys that winning's what matters to him, but he's worked really hard. He's had an injury he's had to work through a little bit, but he's such a tough kid. He doesn't want to talk about it, doesn't tell anybody about it, but so we kept him in and out of practice some the last couple of weeks just because we know we've got to have him fresh and ready by the time the season rolls around.
Are you challenging Olivier and Drew Pember in particular?
Well, you know what, you hope it's not a challenge. Drew hasn't practiced hardly any since he's been here. He might have, I don't think he's practiced 10 days since he's been here. And so right now he's not in a position that he's ready to even practice yet. But Olivier's one of those guys that he's very much self-driven. He's got his personal goals that he wants to make an impact as a freshman. He's really embraced, again, being coached and wanting to be out there, and he comes in, he's strong, he's very strong, very active, terrific stamina for a freshman, and he's made great strides from he got here in June, and he's made tremendous strides ever since.
Coach, you ran so much of the offense through Grant in the last couple of years, and now that element is gone. Will you play differently this year with the way you've experienced in the backcourt?
Well, the offense we've always ran it in the fact if somebody gets hurt, can we still run that offense? And so that's what we can do. And you can tweak it, which we will certainly do that now. I mean, but the offense is set up. If one guy, something should happen with an injury, we can put someone else in and adjust to it. But we will still run pretty much the same offense, whether or not, you go back to I mean, last year was a little bit different. We were really a strong, very strong inside-oriented team, and I think these guys would tell you we're still working towards that. But 3 years ago, we weren't like that. You know, it takes time to develop guys to do certain things, but you know, we're not. We won't change a lot. We'll tweak some things, but the system that we have in place, we'll continue to use pretty much.
What's Pember's situation and when do you expect him?
Foot. He's had a foot problem since he's been here, and he hasn't. He's trying to work his way back.
Rick, how excited are you to get going?
I am excited. You know what? It's been a fun group of guys to coach. I like their chemistry. I like the chemistry a lot with this team. I like the energy. I think these guys understand that we've got to get better. It's going to be a process where we need to break through, and as this group. And I don't care if you had the whole team coming back. I've always said you start over every year, and it's no different. That's what makes college basketball what it is. You know, you lose guys, new guys come in, and it's fun watching these young guys. And you can only imagine if they continue to work, how good do you think they can?
Coach, for the first time since you've been here, there's a new women's coach. Talk about working alongside Kelly and the fact that you two will be together for a Rocky Top tip-off on Friday.
Well, she's been awesome. Kelly's been terrific. I think there's no doubt that she came in, and like anybody coming in, it takes time to really instill what you want to do. But I've been very impressed. I've been impressed with times I've been around her, the way she does it, and so I just think, like all of us, when you take over the program, you need time to implement everything you need to get implemented. But there's certainly, you can tell that. One, she bleeds orange as much as anybody I've ever been around, and she believes in what she's doing. And just like I go back to my first couple of years here, it just takes time to get it going. And I think that there's no doubt she's the right person, the right time to get things going.
What does an event like Rocky Top Tip-Off mean to this team, and why did the coaching staff decide to change kind of the format of it and include the inter-squad scrimmage?
Well, I got bored watching it, and I wanted, if we're going to do it, I would like to be productive with it, and I think our guys enjoy it. I mean, first of all, we've got the best fans, and I've learned that over time here that and I want our fans to get to know these guys. I think that once they get to see them, they'll see what I see with them every single day, and create that love affair that you want to see with your fans. And I think our fans are going to love watching these guys grow, just like they did the last group of guys that came through here. But we wanted to really make it more productive. If we're going to be down there, let's do something. I think it's fun to be in front of we'll run it like a controlled scrimmage, like we would be in practice. And so it won't be like a game per se, but it'll be a control game.
If Uros is eligible,
Go ahead.
if Uros is eligible, how much does he step in for Kai? How do you kind of compare those skill sets?
Well, they're different. He at this point in time, he's not the rim protector that Kyle is, that Kyle was for us. He's brings some other things that maybe Kyle didn't have at the same time. But if he's eligible, there's no doubt that he'll play a significant role on this team.
You mentioned the young kids are coachable. You like what they've done. Where are they defensively for you?
Getting better, like I think you would expect any young group of guys. And we will try to do some different things, but there's base things that you've got to get in with them. And one of the base things is it starts out with competing every possession, learning how to go from one play to the next play to the next play within that one possession. That's what they're learning. I do think that they got better this year understanding the tempo of the game much quicker than they dealt with in high school, and how we are a team that we like to attack. We want to run, we want to pick up full court if we can. We want to stay active, and depending on how well our young guys adapt will determine really how many people we end up playing.
You've had a time to talk with other coaches in the industry about the law being passed in California and potentially Florida and other states over the last 2 weeks. Have you had time to talk with other coaches and try to figure out from y'all's stance where that looks?
Well, you talking about the
Yes, sir.
well, here's all I can tell you about that. You know what? And I haven't talked to anybody because I'm all for making our game better. I'm all for taking care of everybody involved. But when you talk about paying players, if that's what we're going to get to, I think all athletes. I have so much respect for our track program, our tennis program, our baseball program, all the non-revenue sports, that I know how much their sport means to them, and just because they're not written about every day, maybe, I think those athletes work just as hard. So my deal is, if you're going to pay revenue sports, the other athletes should be paid, or nobody should get paid. because I think that they all, if that's where we go, and I have no problem with it. If that's where, because again, I'm all about getting better, and I say that, but I still I place a great value on scholarships. I think they're valuable, but I just think when you talk about, again, if it goes to paying athletes, I think that it's everybody. You just can't stop it with revenue generating.
Rick, you know exactly what you got with Bowden and Turner, but how are you coming along as far as developing that next guy that you can kind of go to for some scoring down the stretch of games?
Well, again, you know, you all watched us play, and I mean, there's no doubt that John Fulkerson needs to get back to the player he was his freshman year. There's no question that, and he's made those strides. You know, he's a guy we know we can count on, and Jalen Johnson's improved. Eve Pons has played. You know, we've really using him as one of those hybrid type guys in a role like Admiral Schofield, where he can play both inside and outside. And him playing inside, you know, Admiral started the inside and worked to the outside because of the depth we had on the front line. Eve had to do it the other way. And but those four guys have been there, you know, and then Jalen's gotten better, so all that will take care of itself. But we certainly have confidence in those guys that because of how hard they work, and we know they're going to continue to get better.
Thank you.